right. What is going on, everybody? Dr. Thompson here with Exemplify Health Center, your Wellness Way affiliate right here in Yorkville, Illinois. Thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful, wonderful Friday afternoon. I love Friday afternoons. I actually get out of the office a little bit earlier. It's great. So, hey, today, guys, I want to talk to you about stress, cortisol, and why that may be an issue with your quote-unquote your bad cholesterol being raised, and why, you know what, your doctor may look at you having higher cholesterol and may never ask you this question. So I'm going to go over exactly why and the biochemistry behind why having stress can lead to bad increase in, I say it in quotation marks, bad cholesterol, because there really there's no such thing as bad cholesterol. There's only appropriate cholesterol. I'm going to talk to you about what I mean by bad. Everyone says LDL, low density lipoproteins, all right? I'm going to show you. It's going to make so much sense. Your mind is going to be blown, hopefully, and you're going to want to share this with everyone that you know that is really concerned about cholesterol, all right? Before I go over that, we had a really cool article published just today in it's actually a CrossFit website, really popular. It's called The Morning Chalk Up, and we had one of our patients that we've been working with. His name is Mike. He's got a wonderful, wonderful story. He's lost over the last 3.5 months or so. He's lost over 40 pounds. Off of blood pressure medication, digestive medication, doing absolutely amazing, fantastic, and he just says, "You've given me my life back." I didn't realize how good you can actually feel even in your late 40s. So I want to tell you guys something. If you are watching this right now and you're in your late 30s or in your late 40s, heck, your late 50s, even into your 60s, guys, I'm going to tell you something, is that do not believe what society tells you on how you are supposed to feel at a certain age. Just because there's a lot of people who feel miserable in their 40s or 50s or 60s, heck, even in the 70s, doesn't mean that you have to. It just means that you need to change some things. And that's one of the hardest things that it can do, because I'll tell you, I can guide you, I can lead you, and when we have success stories, I do not take the credit. In fact, the only credit I take is I figured out what was wrong and I tell you what to do, but ultimately it is up to you. It's up to you guys to be able to do it and to follow through. And really, that's what a doctor is. A doctor is a teacher. We don't want to manipulate. We don't want to cover things up. We want to get to the cause. But guys, when you're getting to the cause, it's going to be up to you to start doing the things necessary in order to create change. So if you actually go to our Exemplify Health Center page, you'll see a link to that story. Awesome story, wonderful story. And in 3.5 months, I mean, he is a completely different person. And a lot of times people ask me, they're like, well, what's your weight loss protocol? Guys, I actually didn't tell him really anything about weight loss. First, what we do is we just reestablish health, and weight loss is just really a natural consequence of it. So we had a patient today too, is doing absolutely fantastic, absolutely amazing. Just 4 weeks in, she's like, oh my goodness. She's like, I don't have headaches anymore. She used to have headaches, literally migraine headaches every day, daily. In fact, like her headaches, last one that she had was like 2 weeks ago. I mean, all those things are going down. She's lost like 14, 15 pounds. And all this is all based, off testing and, things like that. But ultimately, it's you who has to actually follow through. So before I get into stress and cholesterol, let me say hi to some wonderful people that are watching right now. Heather, always good to see you. Thank you for watching. Bonnie, good to see you. Thank you for watching. Michelle, Nancy, always good to see you. Let's see, Lisa, good afternoon to you as well. Michelle, Bethany, thank you guys for joining us. And I'm going to go over something really important. Well, Dr. Nate, I don't have high cholesterol. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Chances are you do. There is someone that you know, there is someone that you love that is concerned about their cholesterol. And chances are they're probably taking a statin drug. And I know that last week I talked about literally how statin drugs do not actually prevent heart attacks and strokes. Guys, if they did, heart disease would not be still the number one killer in the United States. It kills more people than cancer. It kills more people than COVID-19. It is the leading cause of death this year, despite all of the rigmarole we're going through right now. So you know someone who is concerned about their cholesterol, but I'm going to tell you something, is they are being led down a very bad path, okay? So someone goes into their doctor and they are diagnosed with high cholesterol. So I always like, well, what do you mean by high cholesterol? Who says what is bad? Who says what is good? Because just remember this, every adaptation the body makes is actually helping you to survive longer and to live longer. So the body never, ever, ever, not once makes mistakes. It doesn't make mistakes. Everything that's taking place inside your body, when you're seeing some bad labs, or you're seeing a bad x-ray, is the body trying to adapt to help you live longer. Now, I didn't say that eventually it's not going to kill you, but it's just trying to adapt in a way for survival. Okay? How you doing, Carrie? Good to see you. Look forward to seeing you really soon. So let's talk about, you go to the doctor, they see that, oh my gosh, you have high cholesterol. Well, just remember this, is doctors say that having cholesterol over 200 is bad. Actually, I can show you research that having cholesterol in the 250s and the 260s is actually good for people after a certain age. It's actually very neuroprotective in the elderly, okay? And who said it? Not me. It's not even my opinion. This is based on research. But let's say you do go to the doctor and the doctor says, oh, you know what? This year, your cholesterol, or this year it's at 240. So your HDL, LDL, your VLDLs are, at 240. But last year, it was only at like 200. Doctor looks at you and says, well, I guess you've been being very sassy. You must be eating too many saturated fats, and you must be, eating bad foods for you. And, I'm going to give you 3 months. And if you don't get that down, you have to be on this cholesterol meds. Well, a doctor's going to force a medicine in your throat? That's impossible, okay? A lot of times you ask the doctor, well, what on earth? Doctor, I have not changed anything. I haven't changed anything. Haven't changed how I eat. Haven't changed anything. There could be other factors, but obviously the doctor usually thinks, well, it's just it's all dietary. Like you're eating too much cholesterol is causing an increase in cholesterol. Just remember this: dietary cholesterol contributes to about 10% of your total cholesterol that they measure in your blood. That's it. And the other 90% is actually manufactured by your liver according to need. So if you need it, the liver is going to manufacture it. So I want to show you, if you guys look actually right behind me, and this is called the steroid hormone pathway. So you got your progesterone, ladies, your pregnenolone, the most abundant hormone inside of your body. You got things like DEA, androstenedione. You got your estrone, cortisol, androstenediol, testosterone, DHT. You guys have heard of this, estradiol, all your estrogens, things like that. And this is kind of stripped down a little bit. But I want to show you something at the very top, okay? So if you look at the very top, you see it outlined in yellow. And if you can see that, hopefully you can see that okay, but what does that yellow box actually say? What does it actually say? Yes, you got it right. It's actually cholesterol. So you guys see that, is that at the foundation of all of your steroid hormones is actually cholesterol. Which means this, is that the backbone of these hormones is cholesterol that's manufactured mostly by the liver. So let me ask you something, okay? So you can see that cholesterol is the foundation. So think of this. Actually, I see the sickest people is when they have the lowest cholesterol. So think of this. Now, I'm going to show something that's going to highlight the next one. And if you guys see that happening in red, you see that word in red, that word in red is actually cortisol. Okay, that's cortisol. So cortisol is a steroid hormone. Cortisol is also known as the stress hormone. So this is released by the outer part of your adrenal gland, and it's in response to stress. So guys, you have many different forms of stress, okay? So you might have physical stress. You may have some damage, injury taking place in through the spine, in through the nerve system. This is why getting adjusted is so important. You may have some chemical stressors that are going on. high inflammatory foods. You might have an infection that's going on. You might, something going on that could be causing some kind of chemical inflammation or chemical stressor. But guys, here's what not a lot of people talk about is they don't talk about the actual mental stressors, your mental stressors. Because again, cortisol can spike when you are undergoing mental stress. So how many times you go to the doctor, your cholesterol is elevated, and doctor says, hey, have you been stressed lately? Because if you have been undergoing an increase in the amount of just mental stress, like let's say you haven't been sleeping as much as you should, let's say you have some mental stress at work, maybe you're stressed because you don't want to wear a mask for 24/7 when you go out in public. So there could be all these different types of mental stress. And so guys, if you are releasing more cortisol in response to mental stress, remember, it has to go down this pathway. So if you need to supply your body with more cortisol as an appropriate response to mental stress, then think about this. Does it make sense? Does it make sense that your body, your liver, is going to manufacture and increase the amount of cholesterol in order to supply a demand that is needed as an adaptation for your body? Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So if cholesterol is going up, maybe you're just actually having too much stress. Now, what kind of cholesterol is actually supplied for these steroid hormone pathways? It's actually your LDL. It's actually what doctors say is your bad cholesterol. I've even heard some people say your cholesterol can never be too low. We have a lot of work to do, all right? So yes, your cholesterol can be very too low. And in fact, I'll actually make the argument that the whole level of 200 does not matter whatsoever. So I've seen people with very high cholesterol numbers, but there's some other markers that are way more important than just what your total cholesterol actually is. So guys, are you stressed? If you are stressed, your liver better make some more low-density lipoproteins to send out in order to manufacture those steroid hormones. Yes, including testosterone too, and your estradiol, everything, the backbone of it is actually your cholesterol. And by the way, cholesterol actually makes up literally every single cell membrane inside of your body. So you need cholesterol for healing and repair and for cellular communication. Because remember guys, the brain of the cell is not your cell nucleus where your DNA is living. The brain of the cell is actually the membrane. So if that membrane is what allows things to come in and come out, and it actually, all of your hormone receptors and things like that are on that membrane. So if that membrane gets sick, you have a problem with cellular communication and overall cellular health. And remember, you're only as healthy as your cells. That's it. So you have very low cholesterol, you're trying to drive it down, guess what? Your cells are sick and so are you. So let me ask you a question, because I think of this. If you this is supposed to be funny, hopefully it is funny, but watch. So interesting fun fact is one of the most dangerous animals on earth is actually the hippopotamus. I think a statistic I found is in Africa, the hippopotamus actually kills more people than like lions and alligators and things like that. So the hippo is a dangerous, deadly animal. So think of this, if you're in Africa and you have a hippo that's coming after you, you're probably going to be toast, all right? But think of this, if a hippo comes after you and starts to run towards you, the chances are you're going to run, okay? You are going to run, and you're going to have an elevation of stress hormone as a result. And so the funny thing is this guy's asking the question, I better not do this because this might raise my cholesterol, okay? And my doctor says I need low cholesterol. So just think, yes, this gentleman's cholesterol is going to go up in order to supply more stress hormones so that he can live, that he can survive, and he can adapt, hopefully can adapt pretty quickly so that he can run away from the hippopotamus and doesn't become, fodder to the hippopotamus. So yes, his cholesterol is actually going to go up, all right? Let me give you a fun tip, all right? So yes, stress can actually raise can raise your LDL, what doctors are going to call the bad cholesterol. Now, there's a lot of other things that can raise your LDL cholesterol as well. Things like, actually too much sugar is one of the biggest reasons why. Lack of exercise, lack of fitness. One of the biggest things is actually, guys, your insulin levels, which is going to cause more issues and more, especially vascular inflammation. That's going to be insulin. That's very important. Why we always look at insulin levels when it comes to heart disease and things like that. So think of this. Think of the diabetics, type 2 diabetics. They don't die of diabetes. They die of heart attack. They die of stroke. They have some level of just huge amount of vascular damage that's taking place. Because remember, the insulin actually is very damaging. It's very caustic to your soft tissues. There's a couple other markers that we look at as well, but I'm going to be going over that Tuesday night, 6 o'clock, on cholesterol, how it really is more than just your heart. And we're going to show you a different perspective on heart disease, different perspective on cholesterol, and actually the markers you need to look at when it comes to not only heart health, but just basic, health too. Because when these things start to get really bad too, these things can also cause things like chronic joint pain. They can cause, headaches. They can cause depression even. And so we'll talk to you about that coming up Tuesday, 6 o'clock, about cholesterol right here at Exemplify Health Center. Let me give you a tip though. So if you have blood work at home, okay? If you have blood work at home, let me show you. I'll show you actually how they measure cholesterol, just your basic cholesterol numbers, all right? That gives you a little bit of clinical indication, but not a whole lot. But I want to ask you a question, okay? Because everybody gets this wrong, okay? Everyone gets this wrong. And so please answer this honestly, but think of this. If somebody gets on a scale and that scale measures them to weigh 375 pounds, let me ask you a question. Is that person considered overweight? And I will wait for an answer. So if you're on right now, type in your answer. Someone weighs 375 pounds. Is this person overweight? Yes, overweight. All right. Anybody else have another opinion? Is this person overweight? All right. Yes, we have another one. Is anybody going to say no? Is this person overweight? So what is the right answer? All right. The right answer is it actually depends. All right. And you're going to notice a lot of things that we say is actually it depends. So the first thing that you'd like to say is you'd like to say, well, if they weigh 375 pounds, they had to be. They're probably morbidly obese, right? But here's the thing, is this. If someone weighs 375 pounds, what if I told you that they were 10 feet tall? Okay, what if they were Goliath and they weighed 375 pounds? So the chances are is you would say, well, then I guess they're not obese. And that's the thing, is that when it comes to cholesterol, it's basically like getting on the scale, but without any other context that's actually going on. So it's got to depend on how tall you are when it comes to your weight. But with cholesterol, if someone has a cholesterol of 250, there needs to be more context. So here's how they actually measure your cholesterol, all right? So what they do is they take basically 3 different types of markers. And this is why you probably wonder, you're like, well, I thought it was HDL, LDL, and they take one more to look at your total cholesterol. So yes, they measure your HDL. That's the cholesterol that actually goes from the body and is returned back to the liver, okay? And then LDL is what goes to the liver and goes out to the body. So LDL is supplied based on demand. HDL comes back to the liver based on repair. So hopefully that makes sense. So yes, you should have a higher HDL because this actually means that you are in fact repairing and recycling your body. But if you just look at those, it doesn't give you a clear picture. But here's the other one that they look at. If you've ever looked at it, like, well, those add up, but they don't tell me what my total cholesterol is. Here's one that actually makes a lot bigger difference when it comes to your cholesterol numbers. And that's when they actually look at your very low density lipoproteins. So your VLDL. And what that is that's actually a measure of your triglycerides. So you guys ever looked at your triglycerides? This is basically a fat with a sugar backbone, okay? So it is basically just the amount of free-floating fat, and it's actually the worst type of cholesterol, or most damaging type. So they'll take what your triglycerides are and they'll actually divide it by 5 and then add that to your total cholesterol. So if your triglycerides are at 150, they'll take that by 5, and then 150 divided by 5 is, what is that? 25, 30. So it's 30, and they'll add that to your total cholesterol numbers, okay? And by the way, if your triglycerides are 150, you're having a bad day, by the way, okay? So that's how they come up with that number. But again, looking at cholesterol, it's no different than someone get on the scale, 375 pounds, but they're 10 feet tall. You just need more context when it knows whether it's good, whether it's bad. So guys, I've seen people with cholesterol 140, but very bad types of cholesterol that are being produced. And I've seen people who are actually 290 very recently who actually have very good cholesterol types of cholesterol numbers. And that's one of the things that we're going to be going over coming up on Tuesday. So cholesterol, Tuesday, 6 o'clock at Exemplify Health Center. I know many of you have asked, please, I cannot make it in because I am from Florida, from Arizona, from North Carolina, Minnesota, Wisconsin, wherever I'm from. I don't expect you guys to come in and drive all the way down here. Although, if you ever want to, you're more than welcome to come and visit the office. We would love to have you. But we're working on a webinar right now. So if I get that done, within the next week, we'll definitely let you know, and you can actually sign up for the webinar, and we'll talk about cholesterol. But guys, very important, especially for men, because men think, I just need to take this statin drug and all of my problems are done. But remember, I talked to you about this steroid hormone pathway, and guess what? Is that lower your cholesterol, you will also be lowering your testosterone, men, which means that, ladies, you are no longer married to your husband. You are married to your a roommate, if you know what I'm talking about. All right? So Tuesday, 6 o'clock, cholesterol. We'll be talking about that in regards to health, regards to heart health, in regards to anything else. And we'll also go over, hey, here's are the ones that you need to be looking at when it comes to what truly your cardiac risk, what your stroke risk is. Remember, still a leading cause of death in the United States, so don't forget about that. So guys, I appreciate you joining me live on a Friday. I hope you guys have an awesome, wonderful weekend, a great Friday afternoon. Let me know what you're doing in the comments this weekend. I love to see people enjoy their weekends to relax and do fun things. So let me know what you are doing. I would love to hear about it. And we will talk to you guys soon. We'll probably be live again on Monday evening, so stay tuned. We'll definitely talk about something awesome. All right? Thanks, guys. Be well, be blessed. Have a great weekend.